But yeah, thanks for coming out. My name is Matt. I am one of the librarians at the Palos Heights Public Library. This is um, streaming services, smart devices, smart TVs, and you. Um, I just realized I updated all the slides except the title to reflect the change in title, but that's okay. Um, as always, I would kindly ask everyone to just stay on mute until you are talking if you have a question. And um, I have my standard disclaimer. I am broadcasting live from my basement. So there may be dogs. There may be loud children who are soon done with their e-learning for the day. I apologize if they happen to interrupt. The other disclaimer I have for this is that uh, this information can change very quickly. So you'll see when we get to the streaming services portion, I I a lot has changed since the last time I did this program in I think October. Um, I left in some of the older streaming services that are defunct now, just to give you an idea that these things can come and go. So that's what we're working with. I will stop and ask if anyone has any questions as we move from topic to topic. And also, if you like, you can pop a question into the chat, which should be a button in your row of icons along either the bottom or top of your screen. If it's not, you should see a button called that has three dots, and underneath it says more. You can hover over that, and chat should be the first little menu item you can click on under the more button. So yeah, if you have a question, you can pop it into the chat at any time, and I will get to it when I stop for questions. What's next? We have terminology. This is the agenda. First, we'll talk about terminology, some of the different words I'll be using for all this smart stuff. We'll talk about the different kinds of devices like smart TVs or external streaming boxes. And finally, we'll talk about the myriad of streaming services and what they can offer you. So first, what is a smart TV? It's a TV or a standalone device that is plugged into a TV that allows you to download channels to stream TV shows, movies, and sports from the internet. So it's different from cable in that all of this is coming from an internet connection, not from cable or over-the-air TV. An interface is how the TV or device looks. I tried to include here the menus and user interfaces of a bunch of different kinds of TVs and devices. Yours specific one may look a little different depending on what brand you have or what kind of device you have. Sometimes for whatever reason they are different. So just keep that in mind. The basic principles will still apply, and if you poke around in your menus, you should still be able to find something similar. Resolution, we'll be talking about HD, high definition, 1080p, and 4K. That is basically the quality and fidelity of the screen's image. 1080p is the standard right now. It's getting to be 4K, or you might see it referred to as Ultra HD. It's the same thing as 4K. That means that instead of 10,000 lines of image or 1,080 lines on your screen, you're getting 4,000 lines. So it increases, the fidelity of the image. It makes it look better. All right. It is a requirement to have a home Wi-Fi connection to use a smart TV or external streaming device. Just because, as I said, it all hooks up to the internet, and that's how you get the stuff. So, any questions at this point? I will pause and drink some water. All right, seeing and hearing none, we will move on to kinds of devices. So first, smart TVs. Pretty common these days. It is more and more difficult to find a non-smart or dumb TV that doesn't have all this stuff built in. Yeah, basically this has everything you need built right in. It has a menu that where, you know, you can choose, hey, I want to watch cable TV, or it'll have a section for different apps like Netflix or what have you. Some TV brands have their own software or user interfaces. This would be your LGs, your Samsungs, your Sonys. Um, Other TVs license either Roku or Amazon Fire TV and just use their software in their smart TV so they don't have to come up with their own. That'll be in a Sharp or a Toshiba TV. Vizio, I believe that's another popular brand. That also has, I believe they have their own homebrew software. So, and when I say that has everything built in, it means you do not need an external box to connect to it to get to the different apps. Some common brands are, you can see these on your screen, Element, Hisense, Insignia, LG, Samsung, Sharp. You know, a lot of these are familiar. Some of them are kind of newer, and we will talk in a little bit about kind of what sets them apart from each other. User interfaces. These are a couple different ways your smart TV might look depending on what brand you have. On the left-hand side, we have an LG. On the right-hand side is Samsung. You can see they look different, but you know, they're all doing the same thing. They have different things on the bottom where you can have either individual apps or connect to the internet. There's different groupings for things. So like I said, they'll look different. Don't get scared if yours doesn't look this way. They all have the same basic functionality. Moving on, Sony and Vizio. Those, you know, Sony is just this big grid. The Vizio there has the different tiles that are a little cleaner looking. We have the TCL over here, which has the Roku software in it. So if you have ever seen or used a Roku box, an external box, that is basically the same thing as what it looks like, a few extra bells and whistles because it is the TV interface as well. So smart TV specs. Right now, 55-inch and 65-inch TVs are the most common. You can still find, you know, anywhere from 20 up to over 100, but you'll find most of the selection in the 55 to 65-inch range. They do have it scientifically worked out, the optimal position to have your TV away from you in your eyes. If you have a 55-inch 1080p screen, you should sit 13.75 feet away from it. If you have a 55-inch 4K screen, they say 7 feet. But as I say here, realistically, just get whatever fits best in your room and worry about the rest later. Some people like to optimize that sort of thing, but you know, at the end of the day, I don't know that it matters too much. When you are looking at TVs right now, I would say it's starting to edge into 4K territory as being the most common set you can buy. And at this point, I would probably recommend that you buy a 4K TV just to future-proof yourself. The 1080p sets, they're still fine. In fact, most things you will see on TV are still broadcast in 1080p and not 4K, but more and more things are becoming available in 4K, and that'll be the standard within the next few years. So just keep that in mind. 4K TVs are not as expensive as they once were and are actually, you know, pretty reasonable these days, especially during, you know, times of year where they have big sales. 8K is also a thing. Don't bother with it at this point. We're barely into having 4K be something that is actually being used. And at this point, you know, you may see an 8K TV and it may look really nice, but it's also going to be very expensive and there's not really going to be anything that will be in 8K that you can take advantage of it with. You will want to look for a TV that has HDR. That'll add some of the costs or some money to the cost, but that is also quickly becoming negligible. It provides brighter and more vibrant colors, stuff like that. And actually I have, well, if it will advance, I have some pictures here to show kind of the difference between HDR and non-HDR. So if you take a look there at the various images, you can see kind of it's a lot to do with color, and it just makes it kind of stand out more and look crisper, more alive, I guess. Continuing with smart TV specs, there's different screen technology. You know, they used to have plasma screens. Those are pretty much gone by and large. Right now, the most common is the LED screen. Fine for most people, very reasonable cost. OLED screens, which is organic light emitting diode, those are the best. They'll look the best. They are going to be more money. So again, it's up to you. I personally do not have an OLED screen. I wish I did. But yeah, take a look. If it's in your budget, I say go for it. Refresh rate. You're going to see a lot of things if you're looking at TV specs. Some of them are 60 hertz. Some of them are 120 hertz. These days, it's best to go with 120 hertz. It gives you more realistic motion and video, and it's getting to be the standard. So if you can get it, that's what I'd recommend. And again, you know, we're kind of in a changing of the guard situation here where, you know, it used to be something that was 120 hertz or 4K would be a lot more expensive. These days, the prices are evening out, and the prices with TVs with this newer technology are coming way down. As far as HDMI ports go, you'll want at least 3. I would say, you know, try and get one that has 4, just because you never know. In my house, we're always looking for more HDMI ports, and you know, with different streaming boxes or video game consoles, or you know, DVD players hooked up, you don't want to run into a situation where you have to swap out different cables, because no one wants to do that. Okay, I will take a pause here for questions. So if anyone has any questions, you can either speak up or put it in the chat, and I will answer them. All right, seeing none, let us move on. Hello. Okay, I'm not going to play this video. I used to play this in person when we had things in person. But playing videos over YouTube, over Zoom, results in a pretty choppy experience for people. So I will just say a word on motion smoothing. That is a setting on a TV. Sometimes it'll be called motion smoothing. Sometimes it'll be called, you know, image smoothing, something. But what we have here is Tom Cruise explains to us that it makes your TV look kind of like more real life and like a soap opera, and not like you'd expect a movie or TV show to look. And Tom Cruise and this director, Christopher McQuarrie, they tell us, just go ahead and turn it off. So you want to dig through your menus, turn that off. It makes for a more pleasurable viewing experience. I know a lot of times people who don't know what it is just have it on. Like I'll go over to my parents' house and I'll just sneak in that menu and turn it off for them so that they can watch TV in a normal way. I do have a couple questions that came in. Can I add HDMI ports to my smart TV? You can't add any to the TV itself. You may be able to get what's called a receiver, and there may be more HDMI ports in there for you to plug into. And I don't know, usually a receiver is like if you have a high-end external audio system, like for surround sound or whatever, um, you plug things into there and then it shoots everything into the TV. So you may be able to find one um, that'll do that. They have extra HDMI ports in it. There aren't any, as far as I'm aware, there aren't any like for a computer, you can add USB ports with a USB hub. I don't think there's anything like that for HDMI ports for TVs, but it would be a good idea. Do I need a smart TV to use Roku? No. We'll get to in a little bit to the Roku or to the external devices. If you have a TV that doesn't have all this stuff built in, you can get an external streaming box like a Roku and plug that into your dumb TV and get the exact same sort of experience. So thank you for those questions. Moving on. Smart TV prices, $300 to $3,000 is the general range these days. Of course, you know, if you're getting a $300 TV, it'll probably be in the 30 to 40 inch range, and from a brand that's not very well known. It'll probably not have a lot of the advanced technology like the 120 hertz. It may have 4K these days though. There are value brands. Vizio and TCL are two of the biggest ones these days. Those are cheaper, but they're actually really good. Like you'll find on review sites that they review very well. If you look on Amazon or Best Buy, usually they user reviews for those will be pretty high as well. Also, if you use your library card and log into Consumer Reports, you'll probably find the same thing there. Samsung and LG are also great quality TVs. They are middle of the road pricing. Sony usually is the priciest, but they also have, you know, pretty darn good quality. Yes, I see in the chat here, definitely Super Bowl, March Madness are also great times to shop for a TV because, you know, the thing about the Super Bowl, you know, you always get those ads for the big game. And, but yeah, the big game is a great time to get a new TV. Yeah, take all this, you know, as I say here, your own personal preference, your budget, how much space you have in your house. You're probably not going to be able to go wrong. What else do I have? Yeah, Consumer Reports. There's a site called The Wirecutter. You know, you can just go to thewirecutter.com or put it into Google, search for it. And they'll tell you like the Wirecutter does the best thing. So they'll tell you the best TV in this price range or whatever. Based on their tests, they'll give a couple runners up, and those are all good places to start your search. Okay, that is it for the smart TVs themselves. I'll be moving on to the external streaming boxes next. So if anyone has any other questions, I will give it a pause right here. All right. Not seeing any, but again, feel free to pop them in the chat. Moving on to external streaming box. You need one of these to, if you have a dumb TV that doesn't have, you know, the smart TV stuff built into it. You may even want one, even if you have even if you do have a smart TV, if you just don't like the design or the interface, or, you know, sometimes those can be slow. You can get one of these and plug it in and then just switch to that HDMI port and you're good to go. So yes, it needs to be plugged into both the TV via an HDMI cable and a power outlet. You know, take note of what HDMI port you're plugging it into. Depending on how many you have, it could be 1, 2, 3, or 4. And then with your TV remote, you just switch the input to whatever HDMI port you've plugged it into, and then that will bring up the picture. So as you can see, At the bottom here, I have some screenshots. Those are HDMI cables. And then we have on the right-hand side, the back of a Roku. And yes, you'll just plug it in your TV and all will be well. Popular streaming boxes or external streaming boxes are the Amazon Fire TV, the Apple TV, the Google Chromecast, and Roku. So we'll start with the Fire TV. This one is heavily integrated with Amazon's video offerings. They have their own streaming service, Amazon Prime Video. So this, goes hand in hand with that. It has Alexa built in, so you can, talk to your remote and it'll do all the things Alexa does if you have one of those, just an external Alexa speaker. It does have access to other streaming services, not just Amazon Prime, so you can still get Netflix or whatever you want on there. These days, it comes in stick and cube forms. So you can see in the pictures, the stick is kind of out to the right-hand side there. You just plug that into an HDMI port and you are good to go. It's kind of hidden from view behind your TV, although you will still have a power cable running from it. The cube is down below and it's more powerful. It has, faster computer inside to run things. So yes, you can also get games and other apps on there. You can play the games on the remote, or you can hook up a video game controller via Bluetooth. You can also, hang on, sorry, looking in the chat, how do I link my Echo Dot to turn on my TV? It depends. So basically you have to have your TV be able to talk to the Echo. So if you wanna, email me or talk to me after this, I can look up your TV model and see if it'll do that. A lot of TVs these days, the newer ones at least, they will automatically switch to HDMI ports based on, if you hit your Roku remote or your TV remote or your game controller, whatever uses it, it'll switch over to that one. So yeah, we just would have to look in to see if your TV is compatible with that thing. So back to the Amazon Fire TVs. So there's a couple different options. You can get the Fire Stick that'll do up to 1080 for the resolution. That's $30. If you want a stick that does 4K, that'll cost you another $20. So that'll be $50. The Cube is $120, and it's a lot more expensive. It does, like I said, it's faster. It has some other sort of features in there. I will say, a nice thing about these is if you're like me and, you have Amazon Prime, I upload all the pictures I take on my phone to Amazon to back them up there with Amazon Prime. And, on a Fire TV, you're signed into your Amazon account. So you can go to the Amazon Photos app and, if you want to subject people to your vacation photos, you can bring that up and do it there. It also has a little screensaver that will just pull from your photos. So stuff like that. It's kind of a nice little touch. The Fire TV user interface looks like this. It'll show mostly the Amazon stuff up top, but then you can see on that row right on the bottom there, it has Netflix, Hulu, music, different apps. So it's not that hard to get to non-Amazon things. Up at the top, it has your videos. That's if you have purchased any or rented anything from Amazon, that'll show up there. And then you can scroll and you can look through their offerings of movies, TV shows, apps, all that stuff. And that'll be that. These days, especially during the pandemic, a lot of movies that are either skipping theaters or, just came out in theaters will also be on Amazon. So you can either rent them for, between $5 and $20. And though, if you do that through the Amazon website, they'll show up in the Your Videos section. I went to learn to do that with photos. I have a Fire Stick, says Mary in the chat. And there should be, in the settings of your Fire Stick, just make sure you're signed in your Amazon account. And then in the apps section, make sure you have photos downloaded. It should just be there automatically. And as long as you're signed into your Amazon account, you can go to the Photos app and it should just import all your photos or, show them from the cloud. All right, that is it for the Amazon Fire TV. Moving on to Apple TV. This one integrates with the Apple ecosystem. You might not be surprised to learn that. So if you have, an iPhone and you have a bunch of stuff, a bunch of pictures up on there, there's a Photos app. You can stream any music you might have. It has Siri built in. And, once again, this one is kind of like Amazon in that it pushes the Apple, Apple TV Plus, all their stuff you can buy from them, but you can still put Netflix and all that other stuff on it. This one also does games and non-streaming apps, and comes in a couple different varieties. Apple TV HD is $150. Apple TV 4K, 180 to 200, depending on how much memory you want in there. The Apple TVs are generally much more expensive than the other offerings for basically the same thing. You're getting, if you are heavily invested in the Apple ecosystem, like you own a lot of movies, TV shows, music through there, you might want to think about it. If you're not, the others are cheaper and do the same thing. So again, that is up to you. This user interface looks like this. As you might expect, it is a slick Apple design thing. You just navigate around. Everything is a big shiny app button. And yeah, that is basically it for Apple. Next, Google Chromecast, okay, so there's Google Chromecast, which they have had out for a while. Just late last year, they came out with the Google Chromecast with Google TV. That is the official name of it. That's corporate branding for you. And they're very different. So the original Chromecast, I never really recommended because it didn't have its own apps. What it did was, you connected, you just hooked up over wireless, your phone or iPad or computer to it, and then it kind of mirrored onto the TV whatever was on your phone, tablet, or computer. So if you had YouTube up or Netflix, you could send that over to the Chromecast from your device, but it wasn't like any of these other ones where, the actual app resided on the device and you could use a remote to go to it and pull it up. So it was not the best solution. But the new one, the Google Chromecast with Google TV, actually has apps on it and is basically like everything else we've talked about. So it also, I haven't gotten a chance to play around with this myself, but it claims to have everything on one screen. So, in my house, I know we do a lot of jumping around between Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, YouTube, and, you have to go out, go into that app, go into it. This reportedly, you just log into everything and then everything you want is on the one main menu screen, which actually kind of sounds like it could be overwhelming. I don't know. This one comes in two different varieties. The original Chromecast, which goes up to 1080p, that's $30. The new one, which is you can see it, you know, on the right-hand side there. It looks like a white little flat egg. It also comes in, I think, a coral and powder blue color. That one goes up to 4K, is $50. And yeah, if you were going to go with the Google Chromecast, I would go with the new one, the one that has Google TV built in, just because it seems a lot easier to use. The old Chromecast user interface was like this. You know, here YouTube is pulled up and you say, hey, I want to send this to my Chromecast, and then you would hit play. Kind of an inelegant solution. The new one, Chromecast with a Google TV, this is the interface for that. You can see it looks a lot more like the other ones we've seen so far. And you can see in the top picks row there, they've got stuff from Hulu, from HBO, Stars, Amazon. So that's all right there. There is a live button. That's because they want to sell you YouTube TV. We will talk about that a little later. And yeah, so it looks a lot better, I think, than the other one. Maybe if one of the ones I have ever kicks the bucket, we'll try it out. All right, Roku finally is the original streaming box. It's probably the one most mentioned, I think, when you're talking about things like these. This one can access all different streaming services. It has games you can download. It does not have like a Photos app or anything. And it has a bunch of different varieties. You can get the Roku Express, which is, that's the one that's on the bottom left. It's tiny. It does up to 1080p. It's $30. The Roku Premiere is on the bottom right side. That goes up to 4K for $40. The Roku Streaming Stick Plus, again, that's 4K for $50. The Roku Ultra is the last one that looks kind of like a little slab there. It's above the Premiere. That one is $100, but that has the fastest innards, and it has a lost remote finder, which I will tell you, you know, we had a Roku, it worked perfectly fine. I think there was a Black Friday sale where, you know, that Roku Ultra was down to 70, 80 bucks, something like that. And I bought it because we have issues in this household with losing the Roku remote. And now, you know, we use this remote finder button 3-4 times a day, and it's changed our lives. So it's more money, but it was worth it for us. The Roku interface, kind of boring compared to the other ones, but it gets the job done. You just navigate around with your remote, and yeah, you add your channels, and then you go to them, you hit the OK button, and you're into them. So that is it for that section. The external streaming boxes. If you have any questions, let me know. There is one that came in. Are there any programmable recording devices that you can attach to a smart TV that aren't super expensive? I'm asking about a device like a cable DVR box that you can set up to record upcoming shows. So there are these days, and we'll talk about this in an upcoming section. There's a lot of cable TV replacements that they include like cloud DVD or cloud DVR capability, and so that is one option, but that you'd have to pay a monthly fee for. There were some like that kind of went away. So you know what? At the end, I will remind me, and I will do a quick search to see if any of those still exist, like a TiVo like thing, and I will let you know. I just don't want to let it get away from me here. All right. Other hardware you might want, if you have a bunch of different devices, a universal remote might be good. The Logitech Harmony is currently, the best of universal remotes. They can get pricey, but the lower end models are fine. And, you know, they don't cost as much. But yeah, we have a sound bar, Roku, the TV, the cable box, and having everything in one remote is usually pretty good, except when it gets lost. An antenna, you can get an antenna. There's, you can mount them either, if it's like this one, it's flat, you can just put it on a wall in your house. You can still get the rabbit ears. If you don't have cable, you can get HD signals from local channels with that. A lot of people are doing that these days. And a sound bar. So newer TVs, they have weak speakers, and usually they're pointing either down or actually sometimes even behind the TV. It does not provide the best quality sound. You can get a lot of sound bars these days that have great, speakers, 2-channel speakers, and a subwoofer. Although that you don't have to get a subwoofer if you don't want to. And excuse me, they're good. Like, we got one, and it is definitely noticeable, the increase in the quality of sound. You can get those for, around $100 these days for the entry level models. Let's go to the chat. We have some questions. Do I need for Amazon Fire, do I need a Prime membership? No, you don't. You wouldn't be able to access any of the Prime Video things. So, they have a lot of shows and movies and Amazon original programming that is on Prime Video. You would not be able to access that, but you could still install Netflix or whatever else and use it all the same. We have an external antenna, get about 80 stations. That's correct. You would be surprised at the sort of stations you can pull in with an external antenna. It's pretty cool. Sometimes, depending on how far you are away from the source of the signal, it might not come in that great. I think it's CBS around here that depending on your elevation and how far away you are, it might not come in great, but that is something to just play around with. They're not very expensive, these antennas. Let's see. Can you give an overview of cable versus cutting the cord costs? Yes, in the next section, I am going to talk about all the different streaming services, including all their costs. So we'll be able to see there, depending on what you would want to subscribe to, how much it would be. Only problem now, digital, we have to rescan the whole TV. Oh yeah. The thing with these antennas is you have to tell your TV to scan the channels so it can pull them in. So if you take it around places, it might not, you'd have to rescan from time to time. What's the best way to get Discovery Plus on my smart TV that is too old to support that streaming channel? If it is not an option for you to get on your existing TV, probably the only way to get to it would be to, get one of those external boxes and just switch over to that. That tiny Roku for $30. It's not that much money, but if it's an older set, and you don't want to upgrade the TV itself, then that would probably be what you'd want to do. And the other thing to note is it may not be that the TV is too old. Sometimes for whatever reason, not every TV brand has every streaming service. So just keep an eye out on that as well. What else do we have here? That flat antenna can go on a wall. I thought it had to be a window. I mean, it depends. So if you are you can try it on a wall. If you don't get great reception, you might have to put it in a window. I've had one where I've had it on a wall and it's been okay. I have also been in a situation where it was not okay and I had to put it into a window. So you just got to try it out. Your mileage will vary. And CBS 2 is the only station still on VHF. And the little antennas, like you show, don't get that well. Yeah, if you have, and yes, here, if you have one of the bigger, older antennas, it should be able to pick up, everything from the moon and back. And Mary says, yeah, you have to face southwest. Positioning also will be an issue. I see you're recording this presentation. Will it be shared after? Yes, we will put it up onto YouTube probably sometime tomorrow. Usually we will announce it on our social media channels for the library when something goes onto YouTube. But I can also, if you email me, I can send you the link if you're not looking over there. All right, I think I'm caught up with questions in the chat. Thank you for those. I will move on. All right, so, well, hang on. Errant scroll wheel usage here. So what do you do with it? Now we've talked about smart TVs and external devices. What do you do with them? The big thing is the streaming services, which if you're not familiar, they're a bit like TV channels. A lot of their content is on demand. Depending on which channel you're subscribing to, the release schedules for the shows vary, and we'll see what that means. There are a lot of them these days, so I'm going to go through a bunch of them, and you can pick and choose. I say here, caution, bandwidth caps. That is something that you may run into. So if you have Comcast internet, they have, each month you have a cap on the amount of data you can use over the internet. It's, I believe these days it's 1.2 terabytes. And if you go over that, they'll charge you, I think $10 for each additional 10 gigabytes you use. And what that means for you is most people never come anywhere near that cap. But these days, with more and more things being streamed and more internet being used, streaming can add up. So you'll want to keep an eye on your data usage through Comcast. Sometimes they send you an alert either over text or in your web browser. Like they'll pop up a little thing that says, hey, you're getting near your data cap, so be careful. You can also pay your way out of it for an additional, I want to say it's $25 a month. You can remove that data cap. Shows that you get in 1080, they use less data than shows that are in 4K or movies that are in 4K. So that is another thing to keep in mind as things become more available in 4K and that becomes more the norm. That's going to use up more data every month. We in this house, actually, we just switched to AT&T fiber, which recently became available in our neighborhood. That does not have any data caps. So, if that's available in your area, that's finally like another option. For a long time, we could never get anything but Comcast, but there was an option. A question here: how can you tell how much data you are using on Comcast? What you do is, you can log into either the Comcast app, like on your phone, or just go to, Comcast.net, log into your account, and you go to my account and my services, and then I believe it's internet, And once you're in that internet section, it'll show you how much data you've used for the month. You do get, I think, 1 or 2 gimmies. Like if you go over your data, you get 1 month to where they won't charge you, but then after that, they'll start charging you. And I know, like, during pandemic times, with 2 kids, e-learning all day and everyone streaming, work stuff and then TV and movies, it adds up. So unfortunately, that is where we are at right now. There you go. Someone has had AT&T for years. Good. And so the other thing you can do with these boxes is have apps. Like we talked about, you can get a photo apps, like the apps on your phone, but hey, they're on your TV. So there's different games, there's different information, depending on if you have, the Fire or the Apple, you might be able to access your pictures from the cloud on there. Popular streaming services. Here's a big list. The ones that I have lines through are ones that have gone away just since October. So, well, gone away or morphed into something else. Question here, please repeat the AT&T service you just mentioned. We only got internet, not also TV. So we got AT&T fiber internet, which uses fiber optics cables. You can also get AT&T Uverse, which includes it's like cable TV, but it's through AT&T. So yeah, you can check to see if those are available in your area and the different prices and compare them to Comcast. So we'll go ahead and dig into these. Amazon Prime Video. It's available pretty much on all streaming devices. Again, might not be available on a specific smart TV set, but it should be pretty universal at this point. It has original TV shows and movies produced by Amazon. A lot of them are now award-winning. It also has a selection of, non-Amazon movies and TV shows that come and go every month. The episodes of their original content are usually released all at once, so you'll get an entire season of a TV show, for example, and you can just watch that all in one day if you felt like it. It is included as part of Amazon Prime. So if you are already a Prime member, you just download this app, log into your Amazon account on it, and you get access to it. If you want Prime Video only, you can get that for $8.99 a month. Otherwise, Amazon Prime with everything else is either $12.99 a month or $119 for a year. If you have an EBT or Medicaid card, you may be able to get it for $5.99 a month. It just depends on their various rules and regulations for that, but it's worth a shot. A lot of stuff on Amazon these days. Everyone is building up their original content where, you can only get these shows on Amazon. And again, you can also rent or buy movies to watch over Amazon. And, if you rent it, you get like 48 hours to watch it as many times as you want. So that is something to look into. A lot of these first run movies are coming out. You can rent them on Amazon. Apple TV Plus, this one debuted November 1st, 2019. It is available on Apple TV and Roku. It has content produced by Apple, so their own original stuff. If you have it or want to try it out, I'd recommend Ted Lasso. That's a good one. They are released with 3 episodes initially. So, the first day it comes out, they'll give you 3 episodes to watch. But then after that, they'll add 1 more episode per week until the end of the season. It is $4.99 a month. Or if you happen to buy a new Apple device, whether it be a phone, an iPad, iPod, or a TV, or the Apple TV, they'll give you a year of it for free with the purchase of that. So they started off kind of slow and rocky as far as the amount of original content they were putting out, but it's getting better. I think they're releasing more and more stuff. Of course, with COVID, that delayed and disrupted a bunch of content plans. But the other thing about Apple TV is they only have their Apple stuff. So like on Amazon, you can get non-Amazon produced stuff. With the Apple TV, it's not included with the subscription price. CBS All Access has recently changed its name to Paramount Plus. I don't know what kind of focus testing they did where Paramount Plus was better name and brand recognition than CBS, but that's what they did. This one should be available on all devices. It includes all CBS shows. So like anything from back in the day to modern day. They claim to have over 10,000 episodes of television available for you on demand. They also have some original exclusive programming. Like there's a Good Wife spinoff that's on there. A lot of Star Trek that is available only through there, not actually on TV. The Twilight Zone, although I think that's had 2 seasons and they just announced that there will not be a third. But they have more stuff coming as well. It now includes shows from networks like BET, Comedy Central, MTV, Nickelodeon, and the Smithsonian Channel, if you want a little culture. It has some live news and sports, and they release their TV shows 1 episode per week. Their pricing structure, you can get it with or without commercials. So the with commercials is, just like watching an episode of TV on normal cable or over the air. Every so often, they'll pop in with some ads. That's $5.99 a month without commercials. It's $9.99 a month. Yearly without commercials, you'll be looking at $60. Yearly with commercials is $60. Yearly without is $100. And just speaking about all these prices for all these different things, it does add up. So you would never want to get every single one of these, because then what's the point? Aside from the original content, it's going to end up costing the same as cable. So what we've taken to doing is there's a few that we subscribe to every month, like Netflix. We just have Amazon Prime, so we have that. Hulu. But something like this, like Apple TV Plus or Paramount Plus, we will, when there's a show out we want to watch, we'll subscribe to it for a month or 2, watch the new show, then cancel it until the next time rolls around that a new show comes out that we want to watch. Just because otherwise it's overwhelming. And, $5, $6 a month, it's not that much to watch, your one show or whatever, and then cancel it until the next time it comes around. So that would be my advice to deal with all of these. Another one, if you are into anime, is called Crunchyroll. It has just a ton of anime. If you are into that, it is $7.99 a month. This is, also just to show that there is a streaming service for everything. DC Universe, this one went away. It got folded into HBO. This was interesting because it not only gave access to shows and movies, but you could download it to your phone or tablet or computer, and also go through a lot of DC comic books. So that was kind of a different spin on this sort of thing. Disney Plus, it's another big one. This one debuted November 12th, 2019. It's available on all devices. It has a ton of stuff in the catalog as well, over 600 shows and movies. It'll have pretty much every Disney movie and TV show ever. It has all the Pixar stuff, all the Marvel stuff, all the Star Wars stuff. And it also has, their own exclusive original shows and movies. They've got Mandalorian on there. We just had WandaVision, all that sort of, Disney, Star Wars, Marvel stuff. They want that's all going to be on Disney Plus now. They're taking it away from other things. Like they used to have Marvel stuff on Netflix. All that went away. Now it's all on Disney Plus. The pricing structure here, $7 a month or $70 for a year. Disney Plus seems to be rolling out their original exclusive content on a pretty regular basis these days. Like, it started off when they first debuted, where they had a couple of shows and movies, and that was it for a while. Starting this year, I think, really is when it's really taken off. They're saying that they are going to have like at least one new episode of a TV show or a new movie every week for the rest of the year, I think. So that one, if you're into those sorts of shows like Marvel, Star Wars, Disney, that might be a good one to hang on to all year. I have a question. Did you say Amazon Prime includes Netflix? No. Amazon Prime, so on an Amazon Fire device, you can get Netflix. You can download it to your device and access it through the Amazon Fire, but you still need to have a separate subscription to Netflix. So the Amazon Prime Video is included if you are subscribed to Amazon Prime on an Amazon Fire device, but not Netflix. ESPN Plus, if you are into sports, this one's available on most devices. It features live sports and original ESPN shows. This one is $5.99 a month or $59.99 a year. That actually went up from $4.99 and $49.99. So prices on some of these are going up. Something to note is you can bundle Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, and Hulu for $12.99 a month if you would want all three of those. HBO Go and HBO Now, these are now gone. So it used to be very confusing. What is the difference between them? Now we don't have to worry about it because we have HBO Max. They made things easier for everyone. So HBO Max is their new HBO streaming service. It's available on all devices, and you don't need to have a cable HBO subscription to get it. It includes all the shows and movies that are on normal cable-based HBO. It also has Max originals that are only available on HBO Max. If you have a cable-based HBO subscription, it's free. And I know this because my parents have a cable HBO subscription, and we have HBO Max that we use their HBO login for, and it works. So, but I did learn, I said we recently got that AT&T internet. They own HBO, and through our internet deal, we get HBO Max for free now through that. But if you don't have access to someone else's password or the AT&T internet, it's $14.99 a month, which is pretty expensive compared to the others. But you get the entire HBO catalog as well as the originals, which are pretty good. Look them up, see if there's anything that you are interested in. They have a lot of the DC stuff. So, your Batmans, you might have heard about that, the Snyder cut of Justice League that just came out on HBO Max. And, HBO Max itself kind of is just getting going, but they are adding more new exclusive stuff. So that is one to watch as well. And a quick note, there's also, you might, if you put an HBO in your search bar on your smart device, you might see a normal HBO app that is not HBO Max. That's for if you have an HBO cable subscription. It gives you only the things that are on cable HBO, not the additional stuff that's available on HBO Max. So, I don't see any reason to not get HBO Max these days, even if you have the cable subscription, just because it's the same stuff and more. All right. Hulu, it's another one of the big ones. It's available on all devices. This one is good for cord cutters. The base plan for it has most new network TV shows the day after they air. So, something airs on cable or, network TV, the next day it will show up on Hulu. That changes from time to time as content deals expire and get renewed. Some people pull away from Hulu to try their own streaming services, but by and large, there is a lot of stuff available on Hulu the next day. They also have shows that have prior seasons you can watch. They are also into the game of original content, so they have a lot of their own Hulu exclusive shows. They release one episode per week. There is an option for Hulu plus live TV that lets you watch live TV channels and sports, and uses a cloud-based DVR where you can record up to 50 hours of TV and play it back whenever you want. So that means it's like a DVR that is not in your home attached to your TV. It's just you say, hey, I want to record this, and then it goes up into the Hulu servers, and you can play that back whenever you want. Pricing for this, Hulu with ads, $5.99 a month. Hulu is a rare one where they actually decrease their price. It used to be $6 or $7, $6.99 or $7.99 a month. If you want no ads, that'll cost you $12 a month. Hulu plus live TV gets a lot more expensive at $65 a month, and that recently was $45 a month, so that jumped way up. Hulu plus live TV with no ads, that'll get you $70.99 a month. So the Hulu plus live TV is if you want to get rid of cable and but still watch live TV off cable shows. I've never used one of these cable replacement services, but if you just can't give up some of your cable stuff but want to get rid of cable, that's one of the ways to do it. The prices on these keep going up, so that is something to mind as well. Netflix, the big one, the gold standard. It's available on pretty much every streaming device. A wide variety of TV shows and movies. They have a large and growing amount of original content. They have new TV shows coming out every week. They have new movies coming out every week, and they're actually pretty good. Like, you get a lot of big stars in some of these Netflix movies these days that you would not expect to see in a Netflix exclusive movie, but they're doing it. They follow the model of, if a new season of TV shows comes out, all their episodes are available all at once, so you can watch it all on the same day. You don't have to wait a week. Their pricing structure is for non-HD quality in one screen, $9 a month. For standard 1080p HD quality and two screens, that's $13.99 a month. Their premium tier is 4K quality and up to 4 screens. That's $17.99 a month. And the different screens just means somebody's watching it on the Roku, someone else is watching in a different part of the house or wherever they are on their iPad or their phone. So, you can have up to 2 screens at once or up to 4 screens at once, however you roll in your family. Question in the chat: what is the advantage of getting rid of cable if you pay $71 a month to see TV channels? That's a great question. When these cable replacement, like live TV things first came out, they were cheaper, like $45 a month. And it made more sense then, like if you wanted that content. But prices just keep creeping up, mostly because of the cable TV channels that you get over them. They keep demanding more money, so the providers of it have to keep increasing the price because of that. But speaking of cable TV replacement, Philo has available on most devices. It's shows you live cable TV channels. This one does not have local channels. There's only one package to choose from. It's 64 channels. You can add premium channels like Stars or Epics. It's $20 a month. So that is a lot more reasonable than, the Hulu TV, or we'll get to the YouTube TV. But, you can look up Philo, go see, the 64 channels they have. see if any of those appeal to you. You know, you don't get to pick and choose. It's just like a cable package where everything is bundled into one. Do these services eat your money with extra fees like AT&T and Comcast? No, they don't. You know, Netflix is, well, it's $13.99 a month. You know, there might be tax added on, but there's no like tons of hidden fees where suddenly you're paying like $30 instead of the 14. So you can rest easy with that. At least for now. I'm sure they'd love to throw some hidden fees in there, but no, there are no hidden fees. What you see here is what you'll pay. PlayStation Vue was a cable TV replacement service that has shut down. So that's another thing. You know, you might get one of these things and like it, but then the next day they might pull the plug on it. So just be aware that things change pretty frequently. Sling TV, another cable TV replacement service. Live cable TV channels, no live local channels. They recommend an antenna. There are two packages. They share some channels, but there are differences. You cannot subscribe to both packages anymore. You used to be able to. I'm sorry. Please ignore that. I should have taken that out. You can get Sling Blue for $35 a month or Sling Orange for $35 a month. Like I said, they share some channels. They don't share every channel, and there are differences. So you'd have to go to the Sling website, check out to see which one you might like. You can add on a lot of other channels that'll increase the price. But again, if you're into it, that you can look into that. Personally, we don't have any cable TV replacement services. We just subscribe to a few of these, like Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, and then sprinkle in some of the other ones from time to time. It all depends on what you want to watch. YouTube TV. This is another cable replacement available on most devices. This does include local channels and cable channels. There are 85 plus channels, unlimited virtual DVR recording space. This one is $65 a month. So that one is similar to Hulu. And yeah, those are okay. There are a ton more streaming channels out there. Like someone had mentioned Discovery. You get a lot of Discovery Channel shows on there. PBS, if you're into Masterpiece Theater. In fact, we recently learned that if you are, you donate to PBS, you can get this PBS streaming service, and they have all the episodes on there at the same time. So, they recently aired that new version of All Creatures Great and Small, and instead of waiting however many weeks to watch it, we were able to watch all of them in short order. So, yeah, on your device, they'll have, a channel listing where you can go through and see all the different ones available. Some of them cost money. Some of them are free and ad supported. Some of them are extremely narrow in scope. Some of them are not. But I think most of the big ones are the ones we talked about today. So that is all I've got. I will now open it up for questions. Here is a list of some of our other upcoming classes. So yeah, if you have a question, you can either throw it in the chat. If you want to unmute and just ask it, you can do that too. When you subscribe to YouTube, will it be available on all the TVs in the house? You know what? That's a good question. I believe so, but let me look that up. And now this is separate from like just normal YouTube. Like if you have videos that you watch on YouTube, you can definitely get just the YouTube app on all these streaming devices, and it's free and you don't have to pay anything. You can just watch YouTube videos. This YouTube TV is just for the cable TV replacement. So let's see here. Just one membership with up to 6 accounts. Okay, so this says for YouTube TV, $64 a month, $64.99 a month for one membership with up to 6 accounts. So that I believe would mean that you could watch it on up to 6 different devices. So whether that's a TV, a phone, or a tablet, that is up to you what you would want to watch it on. Yes, and then there was the other question about DVR. Now I do know that TiVo somehow is still a thing. So you can still get one of those. So looking up DVR recorders, there are a bunch. Looks like range from $80 to $300. I don't know anything about them, so I will just say, do some research. They are available. You can hook it up and use it in your house, but I don't have any that I would recommend just because I don't know anything about them, but they're available. Let's see. My favorite website, Virtual Trips IO. Can I watch this on Smart TV instead of iPad? It may be available as a channel on a Smart TV, but another thing you can do is, like with my Roku box, I can hook up my laptop or my iPad to it and kind of stream over to the TV whatever is on the computer or the tablet. So, it's a little more advanced to do that, to cast over to it, but you can do that. So even if it's not on a smart TV or one of these devices, you could still hook it up that way. We have a smart TV, but the interface sucks. We tried to connect a keyboard and mouse, but it didn't work. Is there a better option than typing using the remote? Sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't. So, like the Roku has, and I don't know, I don't know if this is going to be on your TV, but the Roku has an app that is on phones. So you can download that to your phone, and you can, if you lose your remote, you can use your phone as a remote. But you can also activate the keyboard portion of it, and you can type in there, which is very nice because it is not fun using the arrow keys on a remote to select letters. So there's also a lot of these streaming services will let you log in on a website, and I would definitely recommend doing that if you can, just because typing in an email address and a password on those remotes is not fun. So a lot of times, like HBO or whatever, they'll say go to hbo.com/activate and type in, you log into your account, you type in the code that's on your TV, on your computer or your phone or whatever, and then it'll send that over so you don't have to use your remote. So that is that. Yeah, I think I've caught up. Thanks to everyone for coming out. I guess, seems like this weather is pretty good. We'll go out for a little afternoon walk maybe. But yeah, feel free to email me at any time. You should have gotten an email from me with the login for today for the Zoom. You can feel free to reply to that if you have any other questions or if you think of anything else, or, just chat or talk to someone at the library. Any of us should be able to answer your questions. So thanks again and have a great day.